There is an epidemic happening in men today. Weakness and comfort has taken place of strength and purpose. Masculinity is labeled as toxic, and women are now the ones who define what a man is, more than men are. Weak fathers are raising lost boys who are at risk of never being initiated into manhood. We've grown farther and farther from God, which led us to become weaker and weaker. The man within fights back by introducing men to their true strength and purpose through God. So join me, and together we can restore true strength and purpose in men. Hello and welcome back to the Man Within podcast. So happy to have you guys here with us today. Today, I'm going to talk through a few lies that we've been told growing up. So I'm probably going to hit a nerve. I'm probably going to offend some of you guys listening, but I want you to understand the only thing that can offend someone is the truth. And the thing that's getting offended isn't us, it's what we believe. But these beliefs mainly have been placed on us, instilled on us by a lot of different factors. And it's impacted our lives. It's impacted the way we view things. It's impacted the way we live our entire life. So what I'm going to be doing is maybe upending your entire life, upending the entire way that you do things. But look, I don't want to leave you, high and dry, completely blow your mind, and then leave you to figure things out on your own. That's not what we're doing. Actually, at the Man Within, our whole goal is, to shatter those beliefs and maybe upend the way you do things. But if you start at rock bottom, well, rock bottom is a pretty good foundation. The only way to go from there is up. I'm not saying I want to get you in crisis mode and take you to rock bottom. What I'm saying is the whole point of the Man Within is to get you to see a new perspective on life so that you can unleash that full potential. So there may be a lot of things that are scary and difficult, and I understand because I've been there, but I also understand in order to start new, you've got to kind of start from zero. So the path that you take from there, the only way up is with God. The only way out is through, and moving forward, find God. So that was kind of a long-winded way to start this thing, but let's go ahead and get rolling into it. Let's talk about some of these lies. First of all, these lies are very dangerous. These lies are placed on you by the world, and the world, we are in it, but not of it. And in this world, there is sin. And in this world, the enemy has a stronghold. And the whole point of the enemy, who has a stronghold of this world, the whole point, his whole goal is to get us separated from God. So one of the ways that he does that is to make lies. He tells us some very dangerous lies that instills us with some very dangerous beliefs that misdirects us, that misguides us, that makes us think that some things are right. And it's just right enough to the point where we believe it. And because we believe it, we live our lives that way. And we don't even understand or realize that we are actually moving farther and further from God. And we don't see it until life gets really dangerous. But luckily, God is always with us. He's the shepherd that brings the sheep home. And there's a lot of lost sheep out in this world today. And guys, nothing is more dangerous than living your life by a lie as if it were the truth. Let me say that one more time. Nothing is more dangerous than living your life by a lie as if it were the truth. The truth hurts, but the truth sets us free. Jesus said he is the way, the truth, and the life. And what I want to do today is kind of bring you to the light, help you see some of that truth, because I started to do a lot of things that the world told me to do. I started believing a lot of these lies. But in this journey, I personally experienced the detriment of doing these things that the world tells us. And I'm going to talk through a few of these things. But in my own journey, I started to see the things that they didn't want me to see. I started uncovering things. I started uncovering lies. And like I said, it hurt. It just completely blew my mind. It upended my life. I thought at 22 years old, I had some basic understanding of life, but really I'd been so misdirected and so unguided or guided by the wrong things that it led me farther and farther from God into a place where I was completely just felt meaningless. Like I just felt so worthless. I felt like there was no purpose for me. And luckily, God stepped in right at that point at 22. And you can listen to my story on the last episode. But luckily, God stepped in right at the nick of time, right at the perfect time, like he always does. And he showed me the truth. So today I'm going to talk through some of the dangerous lies that we've been taught by the world, lies that directly contradict God's will, lies that limit our potential instead of expanding it, lies that keep you poor financially, spiritually, mentally, lies that keep you weak financially, mentally, spiritually. The lies that the world has more to offer you than God. We've been living on this guise that we should be storing up our riches on earth and not storing up any riches in heaven. That's one of those big lies. And overall, just the lies that keep you separated from God and purpose and the life that God intended for you. But when you follow the ways of the world, you get rewarded with what the world has to offer you. The more you fill yourself with earthly gifts, whether it's money, status, sex, pornography, the emptier you feel. That's because you're trying to fill a God-sized hole with ungodly things. And when you pursue ungodly things, you're rewarded with ungodly consequences. Basically, the opposite of what God has to offer you. Depression, weakness, meaninglessness, low self-worth. You're seeing yourself the way the enemy sees you, the way even the world sees you, instead of seeing yourself in a new light, in a good light, the way God sees you. So filling up on things of the world is a temporary solution to an eternal problem. So lie number one is the path to success. The conventional or the worldly path to success that is shoved down our throats from a very young age can probably be recited by pretty much any young American or any American today. But let's just run through that formula. Most Americans today live this lie, this path to success lie, that there's only one way to get there, and this is the best, the most conventional way. This formula says go to school, get a job, save your money, buy a house, retire at 65, live happily ever after. Well, wouldn't that be great? But there's a lot they don't tell you. And it wasn't until the last couple decades that college was really a normal thing. Only in the last couple decades has there been a requirement for a college degree in basic jobs. I'm not talking about field like STEM or law or healthcare. No, this is just like basic, basic jobs that anyone with 2 weeks of training can do. It didn't used to be that you had to go to school and get a degree to have these basic jobs, but I just find it weird that basic jobs that pay you barely anything also require you to put yourself in a ton of debt by going to college. And I just asked myself, who's really benefiting from this? After I got through college, I was in my senior year of college, started asking myself, who's really benefiting from this? And the answer is, well, not you, that's for sure. So in reality, when you take this path, this conventional, this safe route, it really looks more like this. Get forced to make a decision about what you're going to do with the rest of your life at a very young age. These are kids 17, 18 years old. And which by the way, it's a huge privilege that we have in America that you get forced to go to college. Meanwhile, there's people in other countries that are doing everything in their power to get here so they can go to school and get a good degree. So, but that's another story. So these kids, 17, 18, they're pushed to make a life-changing decision at a young age when they have no idea what they want to do. And because they don't have any idea what they want to do, very likely they're going to pick an easy degree or a basic degree. Think about it. 17, 18-year-old kids don't know anything about the world. What kind of degree do you think they're going to choose? Of course, if a liberal arts degree is an option, of course they're going to choose something like that. So very likely they pick a simple degree or a degree that has nothing to do with the purpose that God intended. It has nothing, it really doesn't make them a valuable member of society. They're taking like gender studies degrees. It's like, why do you need this 4-year degree to have a basic job? I remember the last job that I had, it was, I ended up getting my master's degree from Duke. I just remember fighting so hard for that job. The training, it was 3 weeks of training. Now, obviously, they expect you to be um, an adult and able to do basic things. It was a very basic job. I'm telling you right now, I could have done that job in high school. And just like any job, the first year is you're just learning. The whole first year, whatever job it is, you're just learning. And it's the same mental, physical capacity that a high schooler could do. But they want us, I mean, I got my master's degree. I didn't do this once, I did it twice. So I'm telling you guys, I've been there. So they pick an easy degree. And because they pick an easy degree, not really much value to the world, harder for them to find a job, they graduate with thousands of dollars of student loan debt in an economy that barely pays us enough to afford rent, let alone anything else. They struggle to find an entry-level job because the thing about these entry-level jobs, there's 1,000 applicants per role. The entry-level jobs are the hardest ones to get. But let me just say a little point on that. Guys, if you are looking for a job, try looking a couple levels up. Because like I said, the job that I had was, was sort of mid-level. I mean, it was kind of entry level, but in a mid-level industry, I suppose. Like, I was afraid to apply for that job because I didn't think it was entry level enough. But the fact is, guys, there's jobs 2 or 3 tiers higher than what I was at that I still could have done. If you can go into, so my recommendation, if you guys are looking for a job, is try a couple levels up. Even if it says you need 5 to 10 years of experience, they all say that. And I can tell you those people, there's people that have been there for 20 years that are still less competent than you. So if you can go in confidently and just show your worth, good chance you'll get that job. All right, that's a different episode. So it's hard for them to find a job because there's 1,000 applicants per role. They settle on a job that they're miserable at because they end up getting addicted to a paycheck. They're afraid to leave because, if you do anything different than get a job, you're crazy. And they're afraid to go through the process again, which I don't blame you. I've been there. It's scary. On average, it'll take you like 3 to 5, maybe even 6 months before you find another job. So it's scary. Trust me, I've been there. These kids have no idea. You have no idea who you are. So after you've been working a job that you're miserable at, you find out you have no idea who you are because you were forced into a life-changing decision. You were forced into this path. You have no idea who you are, and you struggle to find yourself, your own purpose, but you don't know how to do that because you've never been on your own. You've just blindly listened and followed to this economy. I'm sorry, this society that's conventional and safe to try to find a purpose while living out someone else's dream. They're an employee and they're making someone else richer at their own peril. And we're told that's the conventional route. They put themselves in more debt by buying things they think will make them happy, like a house or a car, something that gives them more status, something they think will bring them more joy or happiness to their life, but that doesn't work. They get addicted to a paycheck because you spend your money on more debt, the house, the car, the student loans, and you don't know anything about generating another source of income. We were told to, they were told to save their money, put it in a bank, put it in some place where it's, very safe and risk-free so that it never ends up growing to anything. You wake up and live the same nightmare every day for 40 years until you retire in your 60s. And that's only if you're good at saving your money. There's more and more people in their 70s and up until the day they die, they have to work because they just can't afford it. Because they were they were taught to live the safe conventional route, get a job, save your money, don't do anything different. Just just dear Lord, don't do anything different. Don't do anything the least bit risky. I mean, you only get one life, but this is the conventional path. And then they get bored of retirement after 2 weeks and search for meaning and probably find another job and regret not going after the things they wanted because they were too afraid. That's what it actually looks like. And if you've taken that path, if you're in that job and you are miserable, you were forced to go to college and you picked a dumb degree that had nothing to do with anything. And now you're sitting there in a job that you hate and you're miserable and you don't have any purpose. I feel for you. And you probably understand, like, oh, this is the path that I'm actually going down. Doesn't sound really good. Doesn't sound favorable. So if this sounds scary to you, good. This is the meaningless life of a lifetime employee. There are other sources of income. This is the product of a system that was designed to keep you an employee of man, to keep you an employee of the world, but not of God. It tells you the only way to be successful is to get a job. But statistically speaking, most millionaires are not employees, or they were employees at one time, but they got out of it. They've implanted this idea in you that if you're not employed, then you must not be working. And if you're not working, then that's the most disgraceful thing. And look, God does want you to work. The fact is that you can work and not have a job. That's another one of those lies. In fact, anyone who's ever been self-employed will tell you, if you are self-employed, you'll never work harder than you have ever in your life, because a job is confined between the hours of 9 and 5. And we're led to believe that a 40-hour work week is just so much, it's a ton of work. The thing is, if 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day sounds like a lot of work to you, it's because you're not passionate about it. And I'm sure that's going to offend some people, but trust me, I've been there. I had a job. I was an employee for most of my life, and I dreaded going to work. Well, look, if you dread something, 1 minute of that thing is going to feel like an eternity. So 40 hours is going to feel like 40 eternities. But I also now have the experience to do what I'm passionate about. I now live this joyful life, this fulfilling life of purpose. I'm living the purpose that God called me to live. And it's like, from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, I work. I work on this business. I work on growing it. I work on growing the purpose that God gave to me. And I'm excited to do it. The thing is, if you are 100% committed to something, you'll commit 100% of yourself. I mean, that life where you're working all the time might sound miserable to you, but have you really fully committed yourself? Have you really fully committed 100% of yourself into something that you love? Have you experienced the ability to do that? When you do something like that, even when you're working, it feels like you're not working. When you're doing something that you love and enjoy, of course, you want to do more of that thing. So the lie they tell you, the only way you can work is if you're employed, is flat out wrong. And Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established." God doesn't care whether you have a job or whether you have a business, whether you're an employee or whether you're self-employed. He just wants you, whatever it is that you do it for him. Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work hard, but do it for God and not for men. See, we've been living in this belief that it's good to be average. It's good to be like everyone else, but that is couldn't be farther from the truth. God created everyone equally, but it didn't create us all to do the same exact thing. He gave us all a unique purpose. He gave us all a unique gift. You are one of one. You are the only one to complete that very unique task. So no, we were not called to be average. But we have this innate desire for community and status, which, of course, we need to have a tribe. And the more status we have in that tribe, the more resources we have access to, Maybe we're looking for the wrong community or the wrong tribe, or we're trying to impress the wrong people. We're trying to get successful, but successful to the world is based on how many things of the world they've acquired. It's more about what you have, not your character, not what you do. It's how much money you have. How big is your house? What is your status? In other words, how many temporary things have you acquired? How many things other than God have you tried to fill that void with? And the world's idea of success is the more things other than God you can try to fill that void with, the more successful you are. But there's only one thing that can and will fill that void, and that is God. And there's only one true path to freedom. There's only one true path to real, honest success, and that is through God. He's the way, the truth, and the life, and he is the path to freedom. And Proverbs 14:12 reminds us there is a way that seems right to man, but its path leads only to death. So this is how success is characterized by God. Real success is measured in eternal gifts, joy, peace, faith, hope, love, things that you will take with you for eternity. How many people have you actually helped? How many people have you led to Christ? How many people have you shared the good news with? How many lives have you completely transformed? How many people that you reached out to ended up getting baptized? How many times were you obedient to God? Think about that. How many difficult times in your life did you have a chance to walk away from God and seek the path to pleasure or comfort? And in those times, how many of those times did you say, no, I'm going to be strong, I'm going to stand firm in the faith, and I'm going to be obedient to God? That's something you should be proud of. That's a successful metric. Did you pursue the purpose that God gave you with everything you had? When you stand there at those gates and God is getting ready to judge you, is he going to call you a good and faithful servant? That is real success. And look, all that being said, it's not wrong to want wealth or even to acquire it. In fact, the Bible even says it's shameful to leave nothing to your children, to leave no inheritance to your children. Not a good thing. But there are plenty of verses about finances in the Bible, so it's obviously very important to God. He knows that. He knows it's a part of the world. He created the world. He made the design for it. And the Bible is just the blueprint. It's the script. It's the owner's manual. So it's not wrong to acquire wealth. Wealth is earned little by little by hard work that is aimed towards God's purpose for you, and having strong faith in the Lord that he will reward you when the time comes. That's not wrong. But what is wrong is treating the things of the world, treating this wealth and this money as idols, as if they become the new gods, or like something, they're like something that can solve all of your problems. And that is the lie of the world's path to success, is that all of your problems would just be solved if you would separate yourself from God, if you would seek comfort and not purpose. And that's the biggest lie with this world's path to success. It tells us to fill our life with everything that is not God, to try to fill that void with everything that is not God, and that the path to happiness and true success is ultimate separation from God. This belief that we can do it on our own, this belief that we should be average, we should be just like everyone else, and we should never, ever stray away from the herd. Being unique is the enemy and average is the goal, but it's the exact opposite. God created us uniquely. He gave us each a unique purpose and a unique gift. And we are to go and fulfill that. We are to go and pursue that with all of our strength and all of our might, doing it for the good of the Lord. Like I said, we are in this world, we are not of it, and we belong fully to God. We don't belong to man. Our life is not limited to the rules that man made. So the path to real success is found through God and only God. Any deviation from that is a form of disobedience. So if we choose to follow the will of the world, we stray away from God, and of course, we're rewarded with ungodly consequences. But if we stay on God's path, that means we have to stray away from the path that the world tells us to take. But as soon as we take a step in God's direction, the enemy will do everything in his power. The world will do everything in its power to take us off of it. People will tell you you're crazy. You'll be treated as an outcast. You'll be persecuted. You'll lose relationships. You may even lose your job. Nothing on earth is eternal. But remember this, the world you live in is the same one that crucified your Lord. So imagine what it will do to you. Now, God tells us to have no fear. He is the mighty warrior that fights for us. And Philippians 4:13 reminds us that with God, all things are possible. So I'm going to leave you at that today, guys. I know that's a lot to soak in, this path to success. It's something that we've been told our whole lives, even now, even into adulthood. Even our parents and sometimes our grandparents still believe in that path. But there is so much more waiting for you. So, guys, I really hope this gave you a whole new perspective. I hope this gets you interested in finding your purpose. I hope this gets you more interested in finding a deeper relationship with God and finding the faith that you need to fully commit to His purpose that He made uniquely for you. So, guys, if you got any value from this episode, I'd love to hear about it. You can like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's any topics. Let me know if this hit a nerve. Let me know if there's something you disagree with, and I'd be happy to make another episode about that topic. But for now, I'll leave you guys with this. I know that's a lot to think about. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate the support, and I'll see you on the next one.